Uh-oh.
And we're back.
What up, y'all?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Bobby and Corn Don't Know. I am alongside, as always, my co-host, Mr. Cornelius Edison. What's going on, man?
What's going on, guys?
How's your week been? I guess it's pretty early still.
Say Tuesday? Wednesday?
Tuesday at 11 a.m. So again, Corn wouldn't let me drink whiskey, so we're gonna enjoy. We're gonna do a coffee review today. We're gonna mix it up a little bit. It's not as fun, but guys, we're busy individuals, and sometimes we just can't drink on the middle of a Tuesday. But we didn't want to go longer than a week without bringing you guys an episode, so here we are drinking coffee. Here we are drinking coffee. What do you got?
Got a little Chick-fil-A. I wanted a Chick-fil-A sandwich this morning.
It's just the Chick-fil-A, just straight drip coffee?
Yeah, the coffee's trash.
Black Rock's going to be mad, man.
I know. I almost stopped by a Black Rock when I pulled off the freeway. But I was like, I can't have two coffees. That's a little excessive.
How is it?
Delicious.
It's delicious?
The sandwich was delicious. Coffee, trash.
The sandwich. So the coffee isn't good?
No, not at all.
Out of 10, what are we looking at?
3.
3?
Hard 3.
Rookie score. So
3.0?
3.0?
2.9.
2.9. Wow, not even a 3. I'm drinking I literally don't even know what it is. It's just the free coffee from my office.
Coffee drink.
Yeah, but hey, it's not terrible. It gets the job done. It's waking us up. And we're going to have a good show for you guys today. So we do not have a guest. We thought we'd kind of do a little bit of like a recap episode type, answer some of the questions you guys posted on our Instagram page when we asked for those. Thank you to everybody that gave us questions. We're not going to be able to get to all of them, but there were some really good ones actually that we're pretty excited to dive into. Before we get to that, housekeeping stuff. First off, we have to announce our winner from our review contest we had. Again, the winner of this is going to get free T-shirt. We're going to have those ready to go pretty soon here, but the very first one printed and made is going to be given to Mr. Christopher Yamas, a.k.a. Figure Yamas. I've known this kid since he was born.
Congrats, my guy.
But yeah, man, thanks for the review. It was really nice. That was randomly chosen, and so he's the lucky winner. So
I feel like we should give him like some early access to our podcast. Like
we'll give him some time. We got to figure out.
Before,
we got to
something a little special.
Early access, yeah.
VIP members.
Yeah. We'll add you to the VIP list. We don't have much to give you right now, but
just that early access.
Yeah, but no, you are the first. You are the first contest winner. So congrats, Figure. If you guys don't know, that's it. That was his nickname growing up was Figure, which I don't even know. I can't even remember. I think his older brother couldn't say Christopher, so he came up with Figure, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, congrats, man. Cool. So other than that, make sure you guys, we really do appreciate the reviews and ratings on whatever platform you're listening to this on. We're going to be on YouTube pretty soon. We're still working on that. We got a lot of things to iron out. Unfortunately, this isn't our full-time thing, and so but we're still having a lot of fun doing it. So yeah, true. Good point.
I'll pick it up.
But yeah, so make sure you guys continue to leave, if you're enjoying the show, leave a review. Give us 5 stars, and we really, really appreciate it. With that being said, you got the first question for us?
Drum roll.
Drum roll, please.
We need to put like some audio drum roll in there or something.
No, I'm not that advanced. There we go.
All right, Bobby. Got a question for you. What's your biggest fear in life?
My biggest fear in life? Honestly, I think I would say dying before I get to do some of the things I want to do for some people that I have in mind.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I've always wanted to, once I had the means, make sure I give back to people who have kind of propelled me forward. Mm-hmm. And that was actually that was a big driving force behind this podcast, is I feel like we have the opportunity to reach a larger platform and give them some advice and give them, access to people that they might not otherwise have. But I think my biggest fear, is not making it to the point where I can give back to the people who kind of had my back when I was down and out, or helped me through some tough times. I feel like that's one of my biggest driving forces is to not only impress them, but I feel like I kind of have the obligation to make it quote unquote. So those people can say, hey, my investment in this guy, ultimately paid off. Yeah. And I would just hate, obviously, I mean, I'd be dead, so I wouldn't necessarily feel it, but I would, I wouldn't like the thought of not giving back to those people that did for me. What about you?
Besides spiders and heights,
heights is a big one for me.
Yeah, I'm too big to be that high up in the air. I don't feel that much support in the structures.
A lot of gravity pull.
Yeah, but I would say mine is similar. Kind of not living up to my personal potential. I just see myself doing big things in life and never wanted to be comfortable. That's kind of my biggest fear of not giving my family, the next generations, my knowledge and, working hard for them. Just so they can see, like, okay, that's like, so in my case, like, my dad did this. Like, I want them to see the coolest parents who have achieved so much through their hard work, and just having that pressure on myself kind of drives me every day to wake up and go hard pretty much.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people say, like, you shouldn't be driven by fear, but it's okay to have that type of fear.
Yes.
Like, I'm afraid of not living up. Ed Milet has this really cool thing. When you said not living up to your potential, he has this really cool analogy he uses. He says that he thinks that when we die, we get, assuming you make it to heaven, you go to heaven, and you're introduced to God and God's version of who you could have potentially been. And he said that his biggest fear in life is meeting that man and not recognizing him.
That's powerful.
Yeah, he said his goal is to meet that man and feel like he's looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me, I think, just because, I mean, not only looking at who you could have been potentially physically, hoping you were in the best health and you maximize your physical potential, but also who you helped and what you did along the way and the type of person you ultimately were. That would suck to meet the guy that like this. I could have been like this. I could have done this had I thought bigger. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Nice. Okay.
That kind of leads me to the next question. How do you win the day and break down goals? I mean, it kind of ties in just to be able to maximize your potential for that day.
Yeah.
You can only take,
you're only living right now.
Yeah. Time.
I would say it all starts in the morning, and Emily's gonna hear this episode and laugh because I did not get up early this morning to go to the gym. But I have to say, the days that, which is 90% plus, the days that I get up when that alarm goes off, I have my vision board in my closet where I keep my wallet and keys
suits.
And all my suits. Yeah,
Bobby is in a fresh suit right now. Ice on his wrist.
Or I keep all my ice. But no, I keep my vision board right there in front of me. So every single morning when I go to put on my shoes and put on my clothes, I have literally, and by vision board, for people out there that don't have a vision board, it's pictures of things I want in life, experiences I want to have, places I want to go, the way I want to look. Shout out to Steve Cook. I have a picture of Steve Cook shirtless on my vision board because
interesting.
I mean, it ultimately impacts the way I eat, the things I drink throughout the day, the workouts I have. But yeah, I have exactly what I feel I want on that board.
Can you give us some examples of what you kind of see for yourself?
I have. It's funny you mentioned suits. I have just a few different suit combinations on there that I would love to have one day, custom suits, a few different watches that I would love to eventually own. And I say that as if it's not going to happen, that I'm going to own.
Right.
It is what it is. I've got 3 different cars that I ultimately would like to have, aka I'm going to have at some point. A few different houses. I think they're all actually on Lake Oswego. That's where I want to end up. I have, what else do I got on there? I'm not a big traveler. Like, a lot of people want to
seek vacations.
Yeah, seek vacations. I don't necessarily seek vacations. Obviously I have a picture of a weight room on there because one of my goals is to give back and renovate my high school's weight room. who desperately needs it right now. I was looking at
Tehachapi High School.
yeah, my mom. I was looking at my mom's. My mom went to Tehachapi High School too,
Okay.
and I was looking at her 1985 yearbook, and I'm flipping through the pages, and they have a picture of like the football team working out.
Is it the same weight room?
Same weights,
Wow.
different weight room because we
Okay.
got a new high school,
Okay.
so the room itself has a ton of potential, but same weights.
Rusted out.
Yeah, same
Like,
weights. Yeah, one time we put a 45-pound plate that looked like it had been a little weathered. It weighed 52 pounds. It was a
Wow.
45-pound plate that weighed 52 pounds, just from rust and who knows. But anyways, yeah, I have all those things that are really. They sound very materialistic, but I have an emotional attachment to wanting to get those things.
What is that attachment? I was going to ask you. It sounds like you have a lot of material things.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that material things define your success?
No. Great question. So, ever since I was a little kid, I've been a car guy.
Okay.
And that was something that, to me, I felt if I see a car that I think is beautiful, I shouldn't feel bad about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like someone seeing, a beautiful view in Greece or somewhere in Europe that they want to travel to. That's obviously expensive to go do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't view it as any different. I view if I appreciate something and I'm really interested in how it works, and same with watches. I mean, I've been I don't want to say studying watches, but I've been like a watch head, since I was in high school. And so those are things that I can make an emotional attachment to in my head, and I know ultimately when I get them, that's not going to be the pinnacle, and
Right.
I know it's not going to feel as great as I think it does. But to tell you the truth, it helps drive me.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Right.
I mean,
That's an honest response.
that's at the end of the day, what matters is, does it work?
Mm-hmm.
Is it effective? And for me, putting those things on that vision board and imagining the life that I ultimately want to have, that's all I need.
Right.
And so, we went on a bit of a tangent there off of how do you win the day. But that's how my day starts. I remind myself of, why am I doing this? And, what kind of life ultimately am I trying to create? Because the future is just a long string of right nows. Right. So whatever you're doing right now, whatever you're thinking about right now, is ultimately what's propelling you towards, wherever. The time's going to pass anyways. 10 years is going to go by, whether I'm chasing my dreams or not.
Right.
It's going to go. It's going to go by. Would I rather look back after those 10 years and say, wow, I never decided that I did want X, Y, Z. I never decided that I wanted that house on the lake. I never decided that I wanted to give back to my high school. And now I'm at my 15, 20-year reunion meeting everybody, and I'm just like everybody else. And if you're okay with that, good. But I'm not. I wouldn't be happy with that. So it starts with my vision. I have a little bit of quiet time from kind of getting ready to. I stay quiet. Want to wake my girlfriend up. So I just kind of spend that time. I wouldn't call it prayer, but
meditation.
Yeah, just kind of connecting with God, having little conversations with Him. I don't sit down and close my eyes and actually pray, but I feel more of a connection with God early in the morning, and so that kind of carries over when I go downstairs, take my pre-workout, and I hit the gym, and that propels my entire day. So that's how you win the day. Literally, I think you win the day for me, and whatever the time is for you. Maybe you're a night owl, so you wake up a little bit later.
What time is this in the morning?
So my alarm goes off at 5.
Typically, so
yeah,
you didn't get up this morning. But.
Yeah, this morning was a rough one, but no, my alarm goes off at 5, and my goal is to be in the gym by 5:30. So those 30 minutes are time for me to
self-aware,
reconnect with the vision, and just kind of gear up for the day. And so I go to the gym, head straight into the office, and I'm rolling. I walk in the door knowing that, hey, I've already outworked probably 98% of the population in America in terms of physically, and it just kind of rolls into my whole day. So I think that you need to. I call it, you have to start on the offensive, not the defensive. So if you're waking up later than you should have woken up, and the first thing you do is check your phone, and you've got 3 texts, 24 emails, 90% of them are negative. They're things that are slowing your day down and not making you better. That's going to propel you into the rest of your day. So you're all day you're on defense, and I'm an offensive guy. I want to attack before I'm being attacked. And so I just feel like I'm better prepared to take on, especially my industry where so much is out of my control. I want to be able to have the right mindset moving into the day of being able to tackle whatever comes my way.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Since my wife has started working, she goes to the gym almost every day. Kind of same deal. Wakes up at 5:45, and for me, if you know me personally, I'm not a morning person. But since coming home September, that's kind of started to work in my favor, and I started like getting up earlier and with her, going to work out with her, and I honestly feel if I'm not out of bed by 8 a.m., then my day is not good. If I'm getting up 8:01, 8:02, but if I get up before 8 o'clock and become productive, like you said, playing some gospel or just going to the gym, cleaning the house, doing something productive to start the day, then I feel like I have a better day. And then when I don't, I'm kind of like sluggish, don't feel like I have the best day. But definitely working out is huge because get those endorphins going and you're happy. Everybody's happy, just in a good mood. And then, like you said, the ball starts rolling downhill from that.
Yeah, and I think it also comes down to what are you putting into your head early on in the day. So I know, the motivational YouTube videos or podcasts can be a little bit they can be a little bit corny, and two, they can get a little bit old. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm the first one to tell you that it gets old. Like, I get it. I need to believe and receive and law of attraction, blah 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 blah. Like, I get it.
But the same thing over and over,
over and over, and it gets old. But at the same time, you're either slowly building or you're slowly breaking down. Jocko Willink has an awesome, again, another metaphor where he says, everybody always says Rome wasn't built in a day. It also wasn't destroyed in a day. So it slowly fell after it was slowly built. So you have to take that same mindset of, am I slowly building myself up today, or am I slowly getting worse? Because people don't become 450 pounds overnight, and people don't become 4% body fat overnight. You're working towards one of the two.
It's a process.
Yeah, and if you're maintaining, and if you're maintaining and you're cool with that, and obviously I'm just talking physically here, but it carries over to mentally too. Mm-hmm. If you're staying the same and you're okay with that, cool. But just know that you're probably not staying the same.
Right.
You're probably either getting worse or incrementally or incrementally. Yeah, that's a word.
I think so.
Yeah.
Where's Webster's dictionary?
We'll have somebody check us on that.
Fact check, please.
But you're either slowly getting better or you're getting worse. One of the two.
So you're on a roll this morning. Not gonna lie.
Hey, keep it going, man.
that office.
I got to pull up the questions too. Actually, this office coffee obviously is.
What would you say is your favorite thing about yourself?
Ooh. I think that I don't know if I'm a born optimist. You know what? I'm not. I love how optimistic I think I've taught myself to be.
And that's a good point. How did you kind of teach yourself to be optimistic and positive?
I would say shout out to my mom for making us go to church when we were little. For some reason, things always work out. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying like, oh, things always work out for me. I mean, like, I'm saying for everybody, things work out. And, the universe, God, it's nothing, like, these things aren't happening, and this is repeated all the time, but these things aren't happening to you, they're happening for you.
Yep.
I think Brandon actually said that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a choice. That's a choice to believe that, and it's a choice to have faith in that concept of acting as if no matter what comes your way, you're being taught something. You're being taught something. Like, okay, there's something I got to figure out here because I know this is happening for me. But at the same time, it's just as easy to believe that everything happens against you.
Yes.
And I think that's the choice. That's why I said I'm happy that I have I think trained myself to view the world in that light of these things are happening for me and not to me. I don't want to mention any names, but I have a lot of people in my life that things happen to them always. always. There's so many things that happen to them. And I'm not taking away the fact that really, really bad things have happened in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But they're making the decision to view it as all these things have happened to me.
Like a personal attack.
Like I have bad luck. I disease runs in my family.
Yeah.
My family has always been overweight. My family has always been poor. That's just that's who we are. That's who I am. And they make the decision to believe this narrative that's been told. And even if that has been told to them from a young age, that's why I gave my mom a shout out, because, she never really had that mentality of things happening to us. Things were always happening for us. But
so how do you switch from the personal attacks to lessons learned? Because I feel like there's some knowledge that people can learn from that.
Yeah, I mean, if things don't,
I completely agree with you.
Yeah,
the same thing.
If things don't change, things don't change, and that sounds super, surface level. But really think about it. If you're not changing what you're reading, what you're listening to, who you're surrounding yourself with, if things don't change, things are not going to change.
The energy around you.
And so I think it starts with make that decision to listen to that positive. It's to the point now where people are becoming what I call like success zombies, where all they do is spew this positive, over and over. They spew it on social media.
It doesn't feel real.
They post quotes on their social media, and I'm the first one to say that I'm a victim of it myself sometimes.
Absolutely.
You get in that good mood and you want to post something on your social media, which is fine. But the people that are doing it and then not living it, I think has given a view of that space
as negative.
As a negative, like corny.
Yeah.
It's corny, like you're not really living it. And so again, people decided to choose a negative on that. But back to my point, you have to make the decision to say, okay, sure, that stuff may be corny, but it's going to help me. It's going to start changing the way that I view the things that are happening in my life. And like I said, it's a choice, and it's not an easy choice, but
it takes
work. It's a muscle. It's a mental muscle that over time, what I would say is pull out a piece of paper and write down, 2 or 3 of the worst things that ever happened to you, and then find a way to write down an outcome from that ultimately helped you.
Right.
Things that, and that could be pretty hard for some people, but, as an example, in that second episode, we were talking about different, difficulties that we've been through. I could easily look back at those tough times and draw 1,000 positive things that came out of it, and things that I wouldn't, because right now I wouldn't change my life or anything. And it's this way because I've decided to choose positives out of the things that have happened to me. So, and obviously, and mental health is something we'll get more into as episodes go on in this. And some people really do have, a chemical problem, but I think that we're weak-minded for the most part. Some people do have those imbalances, but I think for the most part, we haven't developed those mental muscles to bring us back and say, no, this is happening for me.
Right.
This is happening for me. So again, I've never been that person, so it's hard for me to coach that person through, but that's what I would say is start building those mental muscles.
Yeah, I like to think of it as you never have a bad day, just a bad moment. But there are days where you have a lot of bad moments back to back to back.
Yeah.
How would you say to the person, because we always have bad days and bad moments, but how do you kind of trick yourself into getting on that bad moment or bad day for you personally? Oh
man, whatever I'm doing, whatever state I'm in. So typically, and this is a kind of thing, I think a Tony Robbins principle, but he says typically whenever you're in those moments, whenever you're worried about your finances, you're worrying about your relationship, you're worrying about something at work. Once you realize that thought comes into your head, check your posture. Your shoulders are down, your chin's down, you're breathing shallow. You're not in a from a physiological standpoint, you're not standing at a strong, right. You're kind of floating. So what I try to do, and this is something I can work on too, because I get caught in those ruts.
Yeah.
But I'll stand up and I'll go for a walk. If I'm at my office and things aren't going well, I stand up and I go for a walk. I'm lucky enough to be in the position where if I want to leave my office in the middle of the day and go to the gym, I can do that. But I refuse to sit there with my shoulders slumped and let these negative thoughts control my life. Because like I said, it's that 5-minute rule, right? If it's not going to matter in 5 minutes or 5 years, don't spend 5 seconds thinking about it. It's not going to matter. Find a solution and move on. But that just a tip or a trick is stand up, change how you are physiologically in the world, because it all starts with movement. Move your body. It's gonna change the way your mind's working at that point too. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I was just kind of thinking of my personal experiences. Of even last week, I had a day where what should have been good news in a lot of people's eyes, I kind of was like, man, I don't know why I'm feeling like this after this news, but I was kind of down on myself and not sure. Had a lot of unknown questions. It was one of those days where all the lights were off. I was laying on my couch with my dog watching Netflix. Like, kind of not woe was me, but like, man, I'm not having the best day. So I just got up, grabbed his leash. We went on a little short walk.
Yep.
And I came back, played some music, and opened the blinds. And my day was turned around. And I really had to, open up to my wife about that. Like, hey, I'm not feeling the best. And having her by my side, it kind of like, she knows how to like get me worked up and like and in a positive mindset. So I'm very thankful for her. But like I feel like for the past month and a half, every day has been positive until last week, and I was like, oh man, like
it was kind of that
yeah,
rut.
it was like everything's been going uphill, and then all of a sudden dip downhill, and now I'm just like, why is this happening? Like, so I looked at it like for the first half of the day, I was like, this is happening to me. Like, why is this happening to me?
All these negative things are happening to me.
And I look at myself as a very positive person and just try to put out positive vibes. But once I looked at it, like, this happened to me for a reason. Like, I could learn something from this. So let me get out of my feelings. Let me take a deep breath, fix my posture, and let me really analyze this, why I'm feeling like this. And that helped me, kind of get on my feet and go for a walk.
Yeah. And a really popular thing right now is like the quick antidote that people are saying is just be grateful. You can't be fearful and grateful in this in the same thing. True, that's true, and I totally agree with that. But sometimes, just to be real, those negative feelings are a little bit more powerful than my gratitude at that point in my life.
Absolutely.
And guys, I think the first thing is to understand is that we're not sitting here
all happy
bullshitting you.
Yeah.
We're not bullshit. We are legitimately sitting here telling you how often that we feel that rut too. Everybody does. You're not, I hate to say this, but you're not special.
Yeah.
Like, your feelings aren't special. You're not, and I mean this in the most positive light. I'm not saying that you aren't special as a person. I'm saying your feelings of being down and quote unquote depressed for the most part doesn't mean that you're alone in those feelings. I know it feels alone, but everybody goes through it. So talk to somebody about it, text somebody about it. I mean, I'm not kidding. The other day when I was in one of those ruts, I'm fortunate enough to have this group message of all my high school buddies, and literally they probably get annoyed with me because anytime I feel that's another key thing I do is I shoot something in there to try to spark a funny conversation, and just connecting with people who I know love me and joking around with them
automatically brings you out of that.
Boom. I'm back. And so there's 1,000 different ways you can find your way out of that rut. But I mean, that kind of took us off the question, which I need to ask you. What is your favorite thing about yourself?
I think mine is my personal grit.
Okay.
I would say everything you just said, but you kind of stole everything, so I had to switch it up. But just, I have so much belief in God's plan for me that has kind of created that mentality of this is happening for me, right? So I look at every quote-unquote negative situation in my life as a positive. Just being able to control my narrative and I know there's a lot of outside forces, but I can dictate a lot of things in my life. Like, I have so much power by how I wake up and work out in the morning, by who I decide to connect with that week. Like, we have a lot of powers in ourselves to do that. So that's one thing I try to focus on. And my grit, I use grit. Is that a bad word or negative
No,
word?
grit. No,
Grit.
grit.
How do you define grit? I don't even know how to define
Grit. There's actually a TED Talk on grit that I really liked. That it's the most common trait in ultra successful people is just their inability to quit.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. Grit is your straight up inability to stop whatever it is that you decided that you were going to do.
Right. Like, once I put my mind on something, it's a wrap. Like, if I really want to get something done, I'm going to find a way. Like, I knew I was going to, after I tear my ACL, I knew I was going to be in the NFL when a lot of doubt came, only for myself, but from other people, like, oh, maybe you should just hang it up. But I knew, so there's never, like, a point when I was like, oh, man, I'm going to be done. But I just knew.
Yeah.
Like, I just have this feeling inside me at all times of how I feel like I should be moving and my inability to quit. Powerful. It's just, like going back a couple of years ago, so my wife now was my girlfriend back then. We had a rough patch, and even when we were broken up for a couple months, I knew we were gonna get married. Like, yeah, things sucked. Like, didn't really talk like that, whatever. But I knew we were gonna get married. Is that grit? I don't know. Just my inability to not to see things through and like.
Yeah, I think that's a part of grit people don't normally associate with, especially in today's day and age.
Right. I just don't
with the way
quit.
relationships work.
Quit. But like, if I feel something that I believe is truly right and that aligns with God's vision for me, like, I feel God working in my heart, so I just know.
So I think that brings up a good point that I didn't know would come up on this episode, but I wanted us to cover at some point. There's people sitting out there so for your example, when you said you tore your ACL and people said, maybe hang it up, blah, blah, blah. You had a very strong emotional connection with the ultimate goal, which was playing in the NFL.
Yes.
You've been doing it for a long time. You knew that was what you wanted. How do we help the person sitting there who maybe enjoys what they do for a living, but they definitely wouldn't say they have a passion for it? Mm-hmm. They feel like they could do more, they're capable of more, but they just don't have that emotional connection to anything like that. The way I have with my business, the way you had with the NFL, and ultimately have with success in general. Mm-hmm. Because this is, I really don't know if I know the answer to this.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how, but on the same point, I think everybody kind of does now.
Yeah, I think once you taste personal success and however you define that, like for you, it's like the board, right? What's on your board. Yeah. You've tasted a little bit of that success at your age now, right? And now you want more because you're not comfortable.
Right.
So for me, for the person out there, they probably had some personal success and got to the point in their lives where they feel pretty good, but they just, kind of hit a wall where they don't feel the emotion. I think it's just taking a risk and
doing something uncomfortable.
Yeah, like that's what I am so comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's like, I feel like that's one thing that has got me to where I'm at in my life. Like, I can be so uncomfortable because I used to hate being uncomfortable, like hate it. But once I fell in love,
when you say be uncomfortable, can you give like a couple examples?
So, leaving before the NFL, I knew I was going to Chicago, right? And the idea of things sound really good. So when I was at home rehabbing, I'm kind of telling people, yeah, I'm going to Chicago when I'm all healthy and stuff. Like, that sounds good.
Yeah.
But the reality of doing it is very uncomfortable.
Moving to a new city.
Going to a whole new state I've never been, to people I don't know, raising my level of performance to the NFL, that's very uncomfortable. And I hate we talk about NFL a lot because it's like
it's kind of what
right,
you do. So
it's like I had to be so uncomfortable. I was literally the only person when I landed, I didn't know anybody.
Right.
Like, that is not an easy thing to do. So just building up that endurance of uncomfortableness, that has helped me get to where I'm at. So over the years of my experiences of being uncomfortable, I am now to a level mentally, emotionally, physically, where I can be uncomfortable for longer than I don't know everybody else's story, but I feel like for the general person. So just being uncomfortable, there's strength in that.
you said something right there that you kind of brushed over, but I think might have kind of just helped answer our question. You gave yourself credit for doing that uncomfortable thing. And I think that sometimes people they lack self-confidence because they don't realize what they've done.
Right.
They don't realize what they've been through. They don't realize how much stronger they are now than how they were before something happened to them. And that ties back to, did this negative occurrence happen to you or did it happen for you?
Right.
Once you switch that mentality of this happened to me, no, it happened for me because look how much stronger I am now.
Right.
Wow, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can start this business. Maybe I can go on this fitness journey. Again, being okay with being uncomfortable and just realizing that that's what you've been doing the whole time. You just haven't put it, you haven't defined it as that up to this point.
And you have to definitely that takes a process in itself to realize what you're doing and knowing how far you've grown. Just because I feel like you can get lost in the day-to-day of just keeping up with your task. And, once you kind of reach that new level, you kind of sit back and just see where you're at and where you were a couple years ago or a couple months ago for that matter. A lot can change in a year, in a month, in a day, honestly. It literally takes one phone call for your life to change. So, I feel like a lot of times people want more, but are they really mentally, emotionally, physically ready for more? Do they seek more? Do they believe they can do more? That's what it comes down to. When you kind of, elevate your mental and see where you're at, see where you're going, and you're like, I know I can do more. If you put those good vibes out there, I guarantee you more will come.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
And through a person, through a phone call, through a text, through a DM, through an email, you'd be shocked what you can do, what will happen to you when you put a lot of positive love in there.
Yeah. Dude, that's a good point. Next question, I want to ask you first.
Uh-oh. Probably switching it up on me.
Yeah, I liked this question a lot, actually. What advice would you give yourself 5 years ago?
Trust the process. Love everybody you come in contact with. Just because, not saying I didn't trust myself or didn't love people, but people meet in different professions. They meet so many people and have a lot of different experiences. And I guarantee you, the person you don't want to talk to, the person that's rubbing you the wrong way, they have something they can offer you mentally. That's probably the number one thing, emotionally. Something they've been through, I guarantee it may not, help you at that current state in that day you might meet them, but somewhere down the road, you might have a situation where you're like, wow, they said this, I'm going through this, now I can understand this because of what they said. And if you don't see the power that somebody has to offer you, then you're not going to get the greatness from them. Everybody's great. Yeah. Everybody has a story. Everybody has some experience you can learn from, and just being moldable to people. So
you would say pretty much don't shut certain people out as early as you may have.
Right. Don't, have a prejudgment or preconceived notion of somebody, but just be open to people and know that everything you're going through is for a reason, good and bad.
Right.
Never get too high, never get too low, but just take the building blocks of that day and apply until tomorrow to the next day. And that soon that'll be a big house with all those bricks you laying, mentally, physically, emotionally, and just be open to everybody because everybody has an opinion. You may not have to agree with it, but just hearing it, absorbing it, digesting it, and then kind of creating your own opinion from it.
Yeah.
Will help you along the way.
Yeah. No,
what would you say?
No, that's spot on, and I think that kind of ties into what I would tell. 5 years, 19-year-old Bobby. I think that I was so excited about the future and so driven towards achieving and accomplishing these things that I had decided that I wanted out of life. I wish I would have enjoyed the now a little bit more, and that's something I've been working on a lot lately. Eckhart Tolle is the man with this stuff. He just talks about finding gratitude in whatever's going on right now. So tomorrow night I have a flight flying down to see every single one of my best friends for one of my best friends' wedding.
Shout out to Hatchby.
Shout out to Hatchby. Shout out to Davin Blaine. And that is something I've been looking forward to for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Super excited about it. But I know that once I get there and experience it, it's going to be a great time. But it's probably not going to be something as big as I build it up in my head.
Right.
You know, and things never are.
Right.
Even if it was 10 out of 10.
Anticipation.
It's right. And that's fun to enjoy that anticipation. But I also think that I've missed out on a lot of today's because of tomorrow's. And I think you have to have a little bit of that just to keep your drive up. You know, obviously everything on my vision board are things that are in the future that I can't enjoy right now. But you don't get to live in the future ever. It's always right now. So it's finding that balance of finding gratitude and like, how cool is this right now? We're sitting in this room talking into these microphones that are recording this. Like, this is an awesome thing we're doing.
Right.
And we're enjoying it. And
it's helping each other.
And it's and it's helping other people, hopefully. And I just think that we get caught up in looking forward to the next thing, and we all of a sudden, like the question was, we're 5 years down the road, thinking, man, yeah, I have a ton of great memories, but how many more would I have had I started each day with the thought of like, today is a gift, and then the next day is going to be a gift, and then the next day is going to be a gift, and not thinking today's just a day, Saturday or Friday, the day of the wedding, where we're going to have a blast. That's obviously a gift, but so is today.
Right.
And so I wish I would have enjoyed those daily gifts a little bit more. And I think ultimately that makes you better long term because you're more focused. You're more tuned into what's happening right now. You're not thinking about the future and missing what's going on now. You're not missing the opportunities that you didn't know were going to pop up today that ultimately popped up. You don't miss that phone call. You don't miss that conversation with whoever that, could change everything. So, yeah, I think I would have enjoyed those little things of those days a little bit more.
What do you think was your drive early on that made you miss these things? Was it working too much? Was it being closed-minded?
Not working too much. I don't regret. And actually, let me preface this with I have no regrets because where I am right now,
it's for a reason.
I'm pumped. Exactly. But in terms of improving myself moving forward, I think it was focusing on what I didn't have and not enjoying what I did have. I mean, when we were talking about like living in that dorm room with those two guys on the football team, in the moment, sure, it sucked. I mean, like one guy farts and everybody smells it for like 3 hours. Like it was rough. Dirty bathroom, it was terrible in the moment. But looking back, it was a blast.
Right.
It was a blast. And I know a lot of that's the psychology of our brains don't want to remind ourselves of the negative things that go on, the nostalgia of it. I get that. But yeah, man, I think that I was so focused on what I don't have, and I still do that, man. I have things now that I was clawing for 5 years ago. I couldn't even imagine I would ever have 5 years ago. And now that, some of these things are here, I still catch myself again in the mornings thinking about the things I don't have.
Yeah.
And again, I want that because I want to have a target on the wall of what I'm shooting for. Another Ed Milet reference, he talks about something called blissful dissatisfaction. And what that means is that you are in complete bliss with what is around you and what is going on in your life right now, but you're at the exact same moment 100% dissatisfied with what you've accomplished. Blissful dissatisfaction. It's the ability to enjoy this steak that's sitting in front of you.
But want the whole cow?
But you still want that next bite.
Right,
you still want the next bite. You're not satisfied with how much steak you've had yet. But that first bite is blissful. It doesn't mean you don't want the rest of the steak, but enjoy each bite. And so I think ultimately those are the happiest type of people, the people that can enjoy what they've accomplished, but at the same time strive for more because they're always progressing towards something. because there is no ultimate goal. I can put whatever I want on that vision board, and I'm going to make it happen. But guess what? Once it's there, new pictures on the vision board. It's just, it is what it is. It's always going to be evolving. So blissful dissatisfaction is what I would have taught myself 5 years ago, I think.
Do you think once you kind of have that vision board complete, like you have everything, are you done? Like, are you going to sit back and retire and have that?
No, there's no end goal. I mean, there are so many cool things you can do for people. You know, I talked about rebuilding that weight room. You know, that's going to be a small drop in the bucket of the things that I do ultimately. And I think there's always that next step. There is no, and once you accept that, it's a good feeling, because you accept this feeling of unsatisfaction, or dissatisfaction.
Right.
You know, I will always be blissfully dissatisfied. I will always be happy. I mean, it's rare that you catch me not decently happy, but if not extremely happy. But I think that I'll always be dissatisfied. I'll always have that fire in my gut, because it's funny, man. You hear these stories of these you know, millionaires or billionaires that they sell their companies for, you know, ungodly amounts of money, and then 3 years later or even shorter, they're miserable or they're depressed. You know, and they're bored. You know, they reached that in what their minds was that ultimate peak, and
Then
it's
what?
like, now what? That's why I think everybody should follow Jesse Itzler on social media. He's a part owner in the the Atlanta Hawks. There's my basketball knowledge. Atlanta Hawks.
This is with
But
no whiskey.
But the guy, yeah, and this is just on coffee. We haven't even had any whiskey. This guy, he runs ultra marathons, and he does a ton of philanthropy, and he's always moving that needle further. And both in business, I mean, he's sold companies for millions of dollars, and then he's taken all that money and started an entirely new venture. And people are like, man, chill, you made it, you're there, you're at the peak of the mountain. But he understands that blissful dissatisfaction. Don't get, like, the guy's obviously very happy. He's married to Sarah Blakely, who created Spanx, also a whatever zillionaire. Like, money is not even an issue for him. But the guy's still waking up at the crack of dawn, attacking the day, running, you know, over 100-mile marathons and destroying his body. And he has this concept of a life resume. He said, I don't want, you know, to die with the only thing on my life resume is I sold some company. It's like, no, I got a lot of things I want to do. And I think that, you know, obviously it's a certain type of personality trait. Not everybody's going to have that, but I think that everybody should master that skill of being blissfully dissatisfied and not happy with necessarily what you got.
What do you think is the best and worst advice that you've gotten?
Best and worst advice I've ever gotten. I think the worst advice I've ever gotten in my life is to cut out carbs. That's the stupidest.
I can't agree with that.
Let's whoever.
Have you tried it?
Whoever, give me Dr. Keto and let's box.
I actually went keto for a little bit. It works.
It does.
It works.
And I am not a master of nutrition by any means, but I spend a good amount of time caring about this stuff. Keto works because the science behind it. I'm not gonna, and guys, I have never set foot in a classroom of like actual science behind this stuff, but this is how it goes. Keto works because the science works. Your body can run on fat, yes, but the moment you slip up and have bread, whatever, you know, you have a donut, or you have a bun, you have a burger with a bun. If you eat burgers with a lettuce wrap and you're not allergic to the bun,
we're about to fight.
Get out of here.
I enjoy that. That's good.
Okay. Back to the science. It works, but the moment you go out of ketosis, you got to completely restart it. Some people are like, "Oh, I'm keto, but I'll just sometimes have carbs." Okay, then, well, no, you're not keto. You're just restricting your calories. That's why you're losing weight. That's all that matters. All that matters is that you're restricting calories if you're trying to lose weight. It's calories in versus calories out. You want to lose weight, burn more calories than you take in. It is that simple. Sure, some people think that your lifestyle is going to be healthier on keto, blah, blah, blah. Worst advice I've ever gotten is to not eat carbs. Eat the carbs, just track the carbs. Eat less than you burn. Boom.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. That's the worst advice
If
I've
we
ever
could drop
That's
these
that's the
mics.
worst. That's the worst advice I've ever
Bog would
gotten.
throw this mic across the
Yes, I
room.
have done keto, and I felt like crap. And I know they said like, oh, you're gonna feel like crap for a few days. No, I felt like
Very
crap
true.
for like 2 weeks. And so,
Were you enough? You probably won't have enough fats. That's all it was.
oh no, I'm telling you, dude. You could look at my MyFitnessPal right now. I was eating plenty of fats and plenty of
Okay,
protein.
what was your go-to keto meal?
It was typically meat with a ton of avocado. I ate nuts throughout the day.
Pause.
But a lot of salads. I just think that people, honestly, the root of the problem isn't keto. The root of the problem is people are looking for a quick fix.
Yes.
And they think keto is a quick fix. No, keto is just a style of diet.
Yes.
That's all it is. It's literally calories in versus calories out. And so if you want to lose weight, do that. But that's the worst advice I've ever gotten. Best advice I've ever gotten is, man, I've got a lot of advice.
What's one thing that stuck out to you?
I think I think getting up early in the morning is probably one of the best advice. Ooh. Drinking. Oh, a lot of people don't know this. So if you're drinking alcohol,
Pickle juice.
pickle juice does hydrate you, but people think that if you're drinking water while you're drinking alcohol, it's sobering you up and it's keeping the drunkenness from being broken down in your body. Again, guys, not a scientist, but drink water while you drink booze and your hangovers will be much less. That was some great advice I once got.
All right,
from a scientist, not a scientist.
Can we
He's
get
like a
some real
nutritionist,
advice from the
but
people besides alcohol?
besides drinking advice? No, I honestly think that my entire life shifted when I used to listen to everyone, Eric Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do as much. He doesn't create as much stuff anymore. But he used to do these things called "Thank God It's Mondays," and it was a quick, like 10-minute, basically pump up thing he would do on Mondays. And I just believed anything he said pretty much because I knew he was successful and he pumped me up and he was a great speaker. But he said that his life changed when he decided to invest in self-education. And what I took that was go into the bookstore and buy books and start consuming things of people who are smarter than you. Intentional consumption of people that are smarter than you. I'm not talking about scrolling through social media and reading little quotes that it says it's from Albert Einstein, but Albert Einstein never said that, or Elon Musk, or or Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like Tom Hardy was like is all over. Yeah, I think the greatest advice was invest in self-education and start making a legitimate effort towards consuming things that are that are growing who I am. And so shout out to Eric Thomas for that. I'll never forget, I was driving to my teller job at U.S. Bank listening to "Thank God It's Monday."
Better slang some coins around.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly. But no, that stuck with me to this day. Just making that decision to invest. And when I say invest, it sounds like I'm not saying like spend thousands of dollars on courses and things like that. Just go to a bookstore and pick up a nonfiction book of whether it be an autobiography or someone you've always looked up to, or someone super successful, or someone who's done great things in whatever field interests you. I mean, if you want to be the greatest cook, go start reading about what the greatest cooks of all time did or
hit me
do.
up.
Or hit up Corn.
I'll show you some.
Or if you want to learn how to
skills.
dunk, hit up Corn. If you want to be a great basketball player.
Man, a million talents.
What about you? Start with the worst advice you've ever gotten.
The worst advice. I'm trying to think. I've gotten a lot of bad advice, but I just feel like the way I work, I just kind of filter it out of my brain right away. So I can't really think of anything.
That's called an idiot filter.
Yeah,
you filter out idiots, and that's
I kind
a
of
good thing to
hear
have.
things and just like, all right, I know that's not right. Like, I'm sure it was some investment thing in the NFL. Somebody hit me up like, oh, you should do this.
Buy a car wash.
Yeah, do something wild. I don't know.
Something wild.
Like, even like it's so wild you hear it and you're like, okay, that's not accurate, like by any means.
Yeah. Invest in a zoo.
Yeah, just I can't think of any specific.
Yeah. Okay. But best advice.
Best advice was a Bible verse that I got my first springtime OTAs. Well, I feel like I feel like I was nurtured around good advice, like loving, caring advice, from both my parents. Like they're awesome and loving people and helping people. So that's kind of stuck with me just from my childhood. But my first OTAs, I was struggling. Like when I talk about retirement, I called my agent and was like, "Yo, I'm done." So I was just like tired and thought I was done with football. And I was talking. Shout out to Mama Hanson, my girlfriend's mom at the time. Is now my mother-in-law. And we were just texting for a little bit. And I said, I'm tired. Like, I don't know if this is for me. Kind of want to come home. And she probably doesn't remember this, but she sent me a Bible verse. It was Isaiah 40:31. And it said, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." And since then, I've never been tired. Like, literally, I've been tired, but like mentally,
you haven't been spiritually tired, which is a completely different thing.
Yeah, since what was that? Probably May of 2016.
Wow, that's awesome.
Like I can literally think to that day where I was in my hotel room, looking outside. There's a church outside my room, and I was looking at it and texting her, and she sent me that, and I've never been tired since.
That's awesome.
Like, I gotta thank her personally, but thank you on the podcast for sending me that.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully that will help somebody out that's listening. Just because the world is hard, life is hard, people are hard. But for me, I'm very spiritually grounded in my faith, so that really helps me day to day. So yeah, that's kind of the best advice.
Yeah, that's a good one. Shout out Mama Hanson.
Yep.
Do you have any more that we wanted to make sure that we covered? Yeah, guys, you guys stepped it up. There's some really good ones in there. Hopefully, I mean, we're almost at an hour, so hopefully we provided some value to you guys today, especially that whole keto thing. I'm just kidding.
That was my always favorite part of the episode.
If you guys like keto, do keto, whatever. I don't care what you're doing.
Keto.
It's not for me. That was the worst advice I ever got.
I think I got one. Okay, we can on this.
Okay.
If you could pick any guest, dead or alive, to be on the show, who would it be and why?
My Grammy, easily, and she passed away in 2015, but she was like the perfect mixture of humor with wisdom, like perfect mixture.
Does she like whiskey?
She actually didn't, and you know what? She hated whenever I would drink around her, so I would try to hide it out of respect. Yeah, but yeah, she wasn't a big fan of. She had an uncle that was an alcoholic, and so ever since she died at 90.
Wow, good
92, 93, maybe. Probably, yeah.
No alcohol.
Yeah, exactly, no alcohol. No, but just kind of what you said, most faith-driven. She could spit scripture at you like you would not believe. Born and raised in Alabama, so like thick Southern accent, and just had all these little like Southern isms that she would spit out. Yeah, and she was just a blast to be around, man. But I feel like anybody else I could kind of just go and get information on. If I want to look up somebody who's super successful, and like that's why I was talking about books. You can go and find out about anybody, But she was one where not a lot of her wisdom was recorded. And I feel like I learned a lot from her and I know I would would have continued to learn from her. Now that I, have grown up a bit and I have different wisdom needs, I feel like I kind of missed out on some of the stuff she knows, or knew. But yeah, man, she would have been an awesome guest.
Yeah.
She would have been an awesome guest on the show. What about you?
She's kind of, yours is all deep and like emotionally attached. I'm like, hold on.
She's the first one that came to mind, man. I've been thinking, I'm going back to my hometown this weekend, so I was just thinking about her over the past couple days. But
mine would be any president, honestly.
okay, why?
I want to know all the deepest.
Oh, okay,
secrets,
that's right. You want
conspiracy
the conspiracy
theories,
stuff.
all that.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good point.
That'll get the views up.
If you had to, but if you had to choose one president, I mean, you got to choose one more recently.
I'll say Barack Obama.
Okay.
I mean, not for any political, like I don't like politics, honestly. But
yeah, agreed. That's why we don't talk about it at all on the show.
I don't know. People are very set in their ways and feel like the president like really affects their day-to-day life, which I don't agree with.
No, exactly.
But I think setting the standard as the first black president, that is very powerful.
Yep.
And just be able to witness that, it's crazy. Like, I don't think we kind of realize what that meant for our country. We'll probably look back one day in our lifetime, and hopefully there'll be more. But just for the little black kids in America looking up and say, wow, I can be a president too.
Yeah.
Like, that is a very emotionally powerful thing that is very cool for me to see.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody in politics. Don't know how you do it, but good for you guys.
Yeah, no clue how you do it.
Yeah.
No clue.
That's probably fun.
Yeah, Obama would get us some freaking listens, man.
Yeah, hopefully. Shout out Obama. We'll be out. Our people will be in touch.
Yeah. Our people will be in touch. Cool, man. Well, you got anything else for the people?
That's it, man.
Cool. Well, guys, make sure you guys follow the Instagram page. Again, that's where we release kind of when we drop episodes, and we'll probably do more episodes like this in the future. So if you're following that page, you'll get a chance to shoot in your questions and have more opportunities to win shirts, or I don't know. We have a couple cool things in mind of what we could do for you guys. We got some things brewing. But we love you guys. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Peace.
Peace.